If you want comfort, go read a cookbook. If you want transformation, welcome to the Strange Sculpting Podcast. I'm Don Strange. We kill excuses, prioritize protein, and build discipline. Let's get to work.
Welcome back to the Strange Sculpting Podcast. Today I got my client and one of my friends and also a trainer himself, Topher Bayless, with me. And Topher, today we're going to tackle some questions we actually talked about yesterday privately. We're going to talk about, and most people have had these questions. If you've been in a gym before, you've had these questions. So I'm not going to waste your time as far as if you want to listen to this podcast, we're going to tell you topics up front. And that way, you know, hey, I'm not really interested in this. If you're not, that's fine. You can move on to something else. But these are the questions we're going to tackle today. Do you really need to eat every 2 to 3 hours? So that window that we say 6 meals a day is popularized by Bill Phillips. Do we need that? Is a post-workout anabolic window as small as people claim? A lot of people think, Topher, we gotta eat 15 minutes. If we don't, we're shredding muscle mass. Is that true, or is there some nuance behind that? Will you go catabolic if you don't eat before bed? I've got clients. I got a lot of clients. I make sure they eat before bed. Not all of them. Some of them I do. What's science really say about that? Can your body? This is a good one. Can your body really only absorb 30 grams of protein at a time? And finally, how much protein do you actually need? Those are our questions today. Topher? So we'll talk about this one first, because we talked about this yesterday, me and you personally. We talked about that 2 to 3 hours, because that's what I do. I eat every 2 to 3 hours. But what does actually science say? So I'm going to tell you what science says behind it, and then we'll talk about why we do what we do. Bro science says, a lot of people, bro science, they'll say you got to eat every 2 to 3 hours, otherwise you lose muscle mass. And then you got the other people that say, no, you can't do that at all. You got to do intermittent fasting. You got to eat that 8-hour window. Well, that completely throws us out of the right. Ours is completely diametrically opposed to that. And so which one's true? Well, obviously, I know people that do intermittent fasting that are shredded to gills. I also know you. And you don't do that. You're eating every 3 meals, and you're eating small meals. And so obviously both of these things can happen at the same time. We can have a great body and you can do both these. But what does science say? Okay. Science says this: total protein matters more than actual frequency. Eating 200 grams of protein in 3 meals has very similar muscle building results for 200 grams spread across 6 meals. And so you can have 3 meals or you can have 6 meals, but they're spread across equally as far as you getting 200 grams. Doesn't matter. Protein digestions take several hours. The reason why me and you like to eat frequently, well, it's not just because of that we're trying to get the protein in. One reason why I do is because I want to stay full a little longer. But as far as muscle protein synthesis, it's not just a 10-minute window. It's all day. It takes your body sometimes 24 hours to digest protein. And so also, whenever you eat ever frequently, amino acids remain available a long time after you eat. So that's what science says. Now, I'm going to tell you what, actually, you tell me what you think, Topher, and then I'll tell people what I think and why you do what you do.
Yeah, I mean, I eat 6 times a day, so my protein's spread out across the day. So I hit my window based workouts. But I do get a lot of questions from clients about protein with this all the time, because I do promote, hey, get as much protein as you can. Somebody say, well, hey, I eat grams of protein. And I says, eat it. Eat it. Is it counterproductive? It's never counterproductive to eat protein.
Absolutely, it's not.
Is that it's never counterproductive. Promote as much protein, but I think that's just logic to me. The day, if you're even 6 meals, I don't know, it's easier on my body for some all day. Because protein has that same.
And so, that's exactly true, Topher. As far as you never go wrong eating protein. That's a fact. Never go wrong eating protein. We're actually talking about meal timing as far as 6 meals a day. And what you said was you like to eat 6 meals a day or 5-6 meals a day. It keeps you satiated. And also you like to get protein each one of those meals. For me,
but it hits me.
Go ahead.
It hits me up,
It has to.
anabolic time too. Like one timing is about perfect. Like you said, I'm not running out of the gym trying to cram a protein bar in. Right, I got 20 minutes to get home and get my meal in. But obviously, I automatically hit my window just because of the way my food is laid out. So
yeah. So the reason why I eat is because for most people don't even need to worry about this. Somebody who like Topher, somebody who's training for a show, well, anybody for that matter. I eat frequently because if I don't eat frequently, I'm going to want to eat something bad. I'm going to want to go to Burger King. I'm going to eat something bad because I get hungry. And if you wait till you're hungry to eat, you're prone to making a bad decision. That's the reason why my grandma said, Topher, all the time, she said, never wait, she said, never go to the grocery store when you're hungry. Why? Because you're going to get everything in the store. So why would you wait to get until you get hungry to eat? So my thought process is I want to maintain blood sugar throughout the day. I want to maintain protein throughout the day. Protein will fill you up. Carbs give you fuel, but protein will fill you up. And obviously, most of Americans need more protein. The average American gets 40 to 60 grams a day, and that's extremely insufficient.
Yeah, every client I talk to is radically deficient. I mean, hitting 100 grams a day, and that's not a lot. That's not really a good number, for most Americans. So
yeah. So
I almost think too, we're talking about the anabolic window of protein. I find it more beneficial to me to intake my carbs at a certain time of day, so if I'm allotted 150 carbs a day, I generally do most of those carbs, 70 to 80% of those carbs I do about 45 minutes before I work out. And to me, that's
not a bad idea.
That's a bigger window. That's a more important window for me for getting macronutrients than I'm running out of the gym and I need protein to, kick that anabolic window, So
yeah.
So that's kind of where I think of when I think about the macros and the importance of when and how we ingest them. That's really where I lean towards is more, more on the carb side to fuel my workouts, especially when you're on a calorie deficit like I am.
Well, that's what's important for you as far as an anabolic window. For you, you're 7% body fat.
Right.
Most people aren't in that 7% body fat. So what I would say as far as anabolic window, and we're going to go, that was topic 2 that we're talking about, the post-workout anabolic window. What does science say? What does bro science say? And what's the actual truth? Bro science says you have about 30-minute window or you wasted it. What does science say? Science says you have about a 24 hours window for trained lifters, up to 48 hours for beginners. If you ate before training, amino acids are still circulating through the body after your workout. The anabolic window exists, but it's much larger than what is originally believed. People think it's like 15 minutes. It's not. However, there's some nuance like that. So I told you before, I said the anabolic window is more like a anabolic garage door, not a window, not a tidy window. But the leaner you get, the more important that is, because right now you're balancing between anabolic and catabolic all the time. And catabolic just means you're burning muscle. Whenever you get as lean as Topher is, that window is shortened just because he doesn't have the amino acids he needs. For most people that are, if you're 12, 15% body fat, anabolic window means very little. But because Topher is on the edge of his body's got to make decisions every second on what it's going to hold on to and what it's going to get rid of, that window gets smaller. And so the closer you get to your goal, the smaller that anabolic window is. For you, that'd be more important. But you said something that's a factual. You said, hey, I make sure I get my carbs in. That's very smart. You get your carbs in, you fill up the muscles, glycogen, so you can actually work out. You got the fuel and your body's now using the right kind of energy to push. And then afterwards you get your protein in, and a lot of those carbs are still sitting in your body that can help, fuel your body while the protein's doing its job building muscle mass. Does that make sense to you, Topher? I think it does.
Yeah, 100%. I actually, that's really what I follow. So,
yeah. But as far as slamming a protein shake within the 10 minutes after, or 2 minutes before, after you get done working out, that's bro science. If Topher would get it in within 60 minutes of his workout, that'd be plenty of time, even for somebody as lean as he is. But I don't recommend starving too long, because if you starve, obviously your body's going to cannibalize muscle, and everybody's trying to build muscle mass.
Right. No matter what they say.
What do you say? Absolutely. I get that all the time, especially with women. Women don't like to eat protein, and they're afraid.
I don't want to build any muscle.
Yeah, exactly. Why would I?
Yeah, I had a client just say that the other day. She came in and she's got these, she's like, she came in to me like about 3 months ago, been losing some weight, and she come in and her arms are real defined. That was the first thing she came in. My arms, they got definition, and look at my triceps. And I was like, yeah, you're getting muscle.
That's awesome. Yeah. Oh boy, she's gonna if she starts building too much, she's gonna be like, oh my gosh, I'm getting too big.
Yeah.
That's such a myth. Myths that never die. If you're a woman, you're gonna build too much muscle. Never heard it. That's one that I've never heard that before. Never heard. I've not met. I'll tell you this. I've had one woman build a substantial amount of muscle mass. Topher, one woman in my life, and she literally could have been a bodybuilder. She could have been a bodybuilder with the genetics she was blessed with. God, if that's what you want to say. I think this woman had more of a beard than I had too. And plus, she was just like a man. I've never been sexually harassed like that woman sexually harassed me. She'd come in my office and immediately I was like, you're a freaking dude, man. She'd say this to over. She'd say, I really like your pants. I said, well, thank you. And she said, they look better under my bed. I said, my God, I said, that's a good one. I'm going to write that one down. Unfortunately, that is like gross considering you got a 5 o'clock shadow, you know what I'm saying? And also you might have a bigger bulge in your front pocket than I do, which makes me nervous, to be honest with you, Topher.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Topic number 3. Do you go catabolic overnight? A lot of people are worried about that. Once again, just based upon common sense, people who do intermittent fasting, if you know any of them that are successful in that area, there are successful intermittent fasting people that are shredded to the gills and have lots of muscle mass. And so just based upon logical observation of real facts you can see every day, you can mark it off. You don't go catabolic overnight, because some people have an 8-hour window, and that's the only time they eat. But I'm just going to go into science. If you don't eat before your bed, you'll lose muscle. That's what bro science says. I've heard it a lot. What science says? Your body is always building and breaking down tissue. That's a fact. During sleep, growth hormone increases, recovery occurs, muscle protein synthesis continues. A pre-bed protein meal, especially casein, can slightly increase overnight muscle protein synthesis. It's optimization, not a requirement. Sleeping 7 to 8 hours without food does not cause meaningful muscle loss. So bottom line is, protein before bed can provide a small advantage, but skipping it won't make your muscles disappear overnight. That's fact. For you, that's something that I could see giving you that, because you are looking 1% to 2% gains. You know what I'm saying? You are like, I'm all about this, Topher, and you know this. First principles. What's the most important thing? You got to get your protein in. How many times you heard that from me? Got to get it in. 1 gram protein per pound of body weight. I've drilled in your head. Then secondly, though, for you, that nuance could be practical. Hey, I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to have some casein before it. Michael Absher, he does. You know Michael, great guy. He's ripped, 60-something years old. I have him on casein before night. I don't want him. I want every percent of possible help to get him over the edge. Same with you. Most people, it doesn't matter. But for you, Topher, and obviously you built the physique. Look at your shoulders, look at your biceps, your muscles. Do you eat before you go to bed?
I actually, the last meal that I eat is at 6:30 at night. But I do before I go to bed, about 9 o'clock, I do a 60 protein gram protein shake. It's about 300 calories. and I go to bed to that. And I do it because of my calorie deficit keeps me from waking up at 3 a.m. hungry. And, I guess I feel it puts me to bed feeling full, and so I've been doing that, and I can't really say, oh, well, I've got getting results. It's probably minute, but I feel comfortable doing that at night because I feel like that's really working in my body as I sleep. That extra protein and calories.
Yeah. Well, protein, it starts muscle protein synthesis, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
You're at a calorie deficit most of the time because you're shredding. And so for you, that would be important.
Right.
And also it's like this.
That's for me. I'm bad. I battle hunger. You know what I'm saying? Like you're doing 1,800 calories a day, you get a little hungry. So I find that doing that shake right before to bed, puts me right where I should be, at least for
also it'll fill you up.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll fill you up, and then it also fills your body full of those amino acids because at night you're actually your body's recovering, and so now it actually has the tools to rebuild what needs to be rebuilt overnight. So for someone like you, I'd recommend it for sure. If you're struggling with get all your protein in and just getting in the calorie deficit, don't worry about it. That's what my advice to the average person is. You make the main thing, 1 gram protein per pound for body weight. Eat frequently if you need to. Just make sure you're at a calorie deficit during the day. That's what you need to do about it. So that's for the average person. For me, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I think that's pretty right on the money. I mean, I struggle with this, with trying to get people to get their protein in and give them the right information. And you do have to kind of differentiate between, what normal people are doing with their bodies and what someone like me is doing with their bodies or competitors do with their bodies. But ultimately, I put them on the 1 pound, 1 gram per pound. Some people are on that 1.5. Put them on 1, hey, it's hard enough for them to get it in. So I put them on that 1 pound. I guess the question that I always get, and maybe you could help me answer this, is a lot of times I get the question between getting my protein from foods or getting my protein from protein shakes. You get a lot of clients say, I have a hard time getting my protein in. If I do 3 protein shakes a day, that gives me 90 grams of protein. Is it that as it is to eat, say, chicken breast?
Okay. I got an answer for you.
Obviously chicken breast has more, but when we're talking in what's the rule of thumb on that?
Okay. This is what I do as far as this. I look at compliance first. When I look at a person, it's like, okay, are they going to eat 6 meals of chicken a day? Or so 3 meals of chicken, two servings of salmon, and 1 serving of eggs. Are they going to do it? It's not what you can do. It's what you're willing to do. I can run a marathon. Topher, I'm not going to. Same way as I'm not going to eat chicken 4 meals a day. And 2, I'm not going to have salmon once a day with a tuna. I'm not going to have 6 sources of animal protein a day. So for myself, compliance issue, I'm going to do 3 protein shakes a day, at least. And they're typically, 45 grams a piece, at least. Or 50 grams a piece. For me, that's a compliance issue. Whenever you do protein, if you do isolate protein, it digests quickly. And so you don't got if you're in a catabolic, for you need more food than you need protein shakes because you're going to need the protein to stick around longer. So if you're eating something can digest, if you're doing isolate protein, it's going to go in and out of your body quicker than it does chicken breast because your body's got to digest. It's a slow drip of amino acids in the body, whereas isolate is a faster one. It's a little nuance. It's not that it used to, no matter what, I still want you to get your protein in. And so it's, like I said, it's compliance. So that's where I'm at with it. And that's based upon reality and twofold. Reality as far as what science says, and also reality as far as what my client's dealing with. Most people are not going to eat 6 portions of animal protein a day. They don't like protein. They hate protein. They like processed carbs and fat, just like I do. The problem is, so that's whenever I look at somebody, it's individual case by case. Like for you, this. If I told you no more protein shakes, you say, okay, you're a different breed. I'm not dealing with somebody because you're focused on a goal, whatever it takes to get there. Most people are focused on a belt size. I want to lose 3 inches of body fat. Yeah. So it's a different conversation for different people. For you, I would rather you eat more whole food protein.
Yeah. Yeah. Just and I do 2 protein shakes a day, and I eat a pound of chicken.
That's good.
A day, and
there you go.
The chicken usually is most of it. The protein shakes are more so for filling me up, taking some of that hunger away. But I also obviously get the protein, so.
Yeah. Well, you're hitting all your numbers every day perfectly. So
yeah. And which is funny because, we talk about, I remember when we first started, Don used to say, hey, you should track your food. And I used to always be against tracking my food, but I have become a diehard food tracker now. And it's almost a requirement now for my clients. Like, look, if you want to be my client, I have to have you track your food. I mean, there's you tried to lose weight yourself, right? And it didn't work. So now my way is you're going to track your food, right? It's an eye opener, it's an eye opener, learning really what you're consuming.
Why? So I think you might answer my question. You want them to track because you want them to know what they're consuming, right? Is that the reason why?
Oh, and I want to know, and I want them to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Because whenever they know, self-awareness will lead to the right decisions or the awareness of what the right decision is. Most people, this now, especially because if you start tracking your food, you start realizing how many calories are in things. And you're like, oh my gosh, if I give you a calorie window of 2,000 calories or 1,800 calories, you're not getting much of the stuff you think you can have.
Right.
And then if I say your compliance, what would you rate yourself? Because I've done this before to you, A, B, C, D, F. You'd be like, if you understand calories, you would think, oh, if you don't understand calories, if I say, how you doing on your program? Would you give yourself A, B, C, D, or F? I say, I'll give myself a B. Okay. I say, what'd you have, Topher? I said, well, I had chicken breast. I had 2 protein shakes. And then, I went off a little bit at night. We had, we went to Olive Garden and I had the fettuccine Alfredo. And so I just did one meal bad. Well, that fettuccine Alfredo is 2,000 calories. You got 1,800 calories on a day. You get a big fat F. That's what you get for the day. But people don't realize that they're thinking. So until you start tracking your food, also the little bites matter. I find this interesting. I don't think I am a binger, Topher. I binge. I don't do it anymore. My stomach can't handle. But I was young. My trainer, I've told you, he said, if you like it, you can't eat it. It gave me like a little bit of eating disorder. As far as this, I would eat like a whole large pizza on my treat meal. I had chased down a hostess snack truck. And before that, I didn't like sugar, but I loved it. And I had a whole box of Twinkies because I limited myself and I didn't eat anything I liked at all. And so whenever I think about now how people, I don't do that anymore. And most people aren't like that. Whenever they see me eat, also, this too, whenever you eat really good food is it's not calorie dense. A whole head of lettuce is only 100 calories. Chicken breast, 4 ounce chicken breast, 130 calories, 120 to 140 calories for 4 ounce chicken breast. Yeah. It doesn't have a lot of calories. And so you have to eat a large quantity of food to get the calories you need. You said a pound of chicken breast. Nobody eats a pound of chicken breast. You do, and a few other people, but most people don't. And so when they see you pounding down a pound of chicken breast, they're saying, oh my gosh, you're going to get fat. No, there's a difference between quality and quantity. And whenever you eat quality food, you get a large quantity. Whenever you eat bad quality food, you don't get a large quantity. It's just a fact. Right. And so now is the first time in history where you could graze, like literally just eat a little bit of food, just graze and get freaking fat. You could get really fat. So a lot of my clients, whenever they're overweight, they say, I don't eat a whole lot. I believe you don't eat a lot. You just don't eat a lot of the right foods at all. You don't eat a lot of the right foods at all. You eat a lot of the wrong foods. One Oreo cookie is 50 calories. I could polish up 30 of them, but I couldn't eat 15 apples, which is the equivalent. Exactly. You could eat a whole pack, like the whole pack, right? The big one, right? And that's freaking 4,000 calories.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And how many apples could you polish off, Topher, in one sitting? If I said it's eating contest, he just means you can't.
I couldn't do
apple.
It's not an apple.
Maybe 3. Yeah, you couldn't. You wouldn't. You'd eat 3 or 4, and then if you ate 5 or 6, I'd say, what is he, a horse? But even if you did, if you had five apples, the max amount of calories, you get 500 calories. You could sit down, and so grazing now with bad food, you can't graze with bad food. That's the reason why, going back to your point, that's the reason why it's very important to track your food, because it gives you self-awareness. So now you look at you, man, I didn't realize I had this many freaking calories. And so I'm glad you're doing it. I'm so glad that you track. And you won't always have to track, but now you do, because your body's a science project. And you're realizing the leaner you get, the more you realize what food actually does to you.
Well, every ounce of food
right now, you're what?
That you put trying to in your body, they're down on that percent of body fat is important. You know, you do deviation at this point. You know, I'm at 7%. I'm trying to get to 6%, but that really means seriously look thing that goes in my body. You know, which for most people that's not the case, but certainly tracking it. People are shocked. People they come back and they're like 3,000 calories, and and that was a normal day. I didn't realize I was doing that many calories. Is like 1,700. You know, so there are calories every day. So and they wonder.
Yeah, every 3 days they'll gain a pound of fat.
Right.
Isn't that amazing too? Because that person, most people have no idea how many calories they bring in a day. But bottom line is, you can't be at 200.
That's the scary part. That's the scary part. They have no. That's where the awareness comes in, and and really the calories are that's going in. You know, and it even comes down to like what we were talking about, protein being the most important. Well, people don't really realize how much are getting in. I mean, heard in the start working. There wasn't a whole lot of protein talk back then. This is a building block. It's very important, but people don't realize how little they're actually getting in their. They don't even really realize what foods have more protein in them than others. So I think it becomes an awareness education that people just don't have, when it comes to the food.
It's the best thing probably I made you do. It's probably the best thing I made you do, because I'd be on you, track your food. People underestimate what they eat, about 500 calories. That's what they do. And actually, I think it's higher than that, 500 calories. Then you got the 20%, 20% that the FDA gives the food label manufacturers. So if you have 2,000 calories of processed food and they give you a 20% allowance, I think they probably use that. So that's another 400 calories on top of. So 2,400 calories.
Who wouldn't use that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, next question. Topic number 4. How much protein do you actually need? Bro Science either does one of two things. It either says very low or very high. You need 2 grams per pound, but what does science actually say? Most evidence roughly supports this: 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day. Examples: 150 pounds, 105 to 150 grams, 175 pound person, 120, 175 pounds. You keep doing the math all the way up to the size you were. Very lean athletes dieting for competitions benefit from more protein. So that's a fact. Bottom line, most lifters do not benefit from doubling the protein to 2 grams. However, this is my nuance. I always say 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, or 1 gram. I want higher than that. If I make you a meal plan, you're going to get much higher than that. Why is that? There's a couple different reasons, Topher, and then I'll let you talk. Number 1 is quality of protein. If you get a protein shake, you don't know if it's a complete gram protein. It could be collagen protein. It could be all different kinds of protein. If you get a blend, you're not getting 2 amino acids that are very important: tryptophan and leucine. Leucine is the ignition switch that starts muscle protein synthesis, building muscle mass and maintaining muscle mass. So if you don't have that switch, you don't build muscle mass. It's very important. And so whenever you do collagen protein, I'm not opposed to collagen protein, but that doesn't have those 2 amino acids in it. So you got to supplement those. That's the reason why I push the envelope. Also, vegan source of protein, they're not complete grams of protein. And so you need more to offset the incomplete. That way you'll get the ones that aren't or you'll possibly get the ones that aren't in your food from different food combinations, right? So for instance, one of my favorite bars is Puff Bar. Puff Bar is collagen protein, 17 grams of protein in the bar. But whenever you dissect it, you're only getting about 11 grams because of how much your body will actually absorb of it. I like the bar. I'm not opposed to the bar. I eat the bars. However, you got to be smart on the bar you're eating if you want to use it as fuel to build a body like Topher. Mm-hmm. So that's the reason why I do it. And I'm always higher. I am more, I would fall in I don't fall in 0.7 to 1 gram. It's always 1 gram protein per pound of preferred body weight, but it's typically 1 gram of protein per pound of weight. That's where I do just kind of like what you do. That's how I trained you. And that's how you think. But Topher, what do you think about it? What do you think, and you have experimented because I probably had you up over 300 grams of protein before. And why did I do that? I did that because the leaner you get, the more important protein becomes because your body starts becoming catabolic. Also, we've talked about this before. In fact, you did a post about it the other day, which I was so happy reading it. TEF, thermal effective food. Whenever you eat protein, 30% of those calories are used to digest the protein. So if you have 1,000 calories of the protein, your body can only utilize 700 calories of those, and your body doesn't want to use them for fuel either. And so you're never going to get fat eating protein. So for you, Topher,
that's me. I kind of raised my protein, and we've talked about this, but I raised my protein as I got leaner, just as a practice, right? So when I was at 16% body fat, I'm okay with coming in. I weighed 160. I was okay with coming in at 180, 190 with protein grams in a day. But as I started dropping under 10, it's 220, 240, 250 a day. And most of it is because I like that calorie. I like that thermal effect. I like the fact that I'm putting the protein in there and it's putting my body to work in the right way. So I've just kept raising my protein as I got leaner, just for the reasons you said,
and also
to support that, people don't really realize, and I say it all the time. I'm like, look, man, if you're eating 2,000 calories a day and you're doing 200 grams of protein, 800 calories of that is getting, utilized just to process the protein. Right. So it ends up adding to your deficit. So that's the other reason why I like the high protein sort of diet and keep raising it. And that's why I put my clients on that too, because they're ultimately going to be burning out most of the calories that they're eating. So,
yeah, if you do with you, it becomes even paramount importance because your body needs it. Because the first thing your body wants to shred with 7%, 6%, 7% body fat, it wants to get rid of muscle mass. Your body doesn't care, and your brain doesn't care if you look like a European sports car. It wants to live. That's what it wants to do. And so it's doing the math. It's saying this damn protein is burning way too many calories. We got to get rid of it. That's what it does. So guys, after you get below like 10% body fat, protein becomes even more important because your body wants to get rid of the muscle mass because it is expensive. Costs a lot of calories to maintain. 10 to 17 calories a day. That's how many calories it takes to maintain a pound of muscle. And so you got to get that's the reason why your protein will continue to go up. Actually, probably stay about the same, but you're not going to go any lower because you want to maintain that muscle mass. Okay. Topic number 5.
Right.
Go ahead. You got another question? You add to it. If you want to add to it.
No, that was good. I think it's important too. Like you pointed out, the lower where you're really working on your body fat, like I am, when you start getting under 10%. I mean, you're the 1 pound of 1 gram per pound. I think, you definitely, that's something to look at raising, at least, 1.2, 1.5, grams per pound, I think is pretty imperative at that point.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Topic number 5. Can you only absorb 30 grams of protein per day? I've heard that a lot. You probably heard a lot too. Science says you can only absorb 30 grams of protein a day. What does science say? Your body absorbs virtually all the protein you ate. The confusion is it gets mixed up between absorption and muscle protein synthesis. Research suggests around 20 to 40 grams of high quality protein often maximizes immediate increase of MPS for many people. That does not mean that above 40 grams is wasted. Extra amino acids can be used for building other tissues, producing hormones, supporting the immune system, creating enzymes, reducing muscle breakdown, and providing energy if needed. Bottom line is, your digestive system absorbs far more than 30 grams. Larger protein meals are still useful. And so I think it's funny because this is easily observed over the years. In fact, a long time ago, we read at the very beginning of this, a lot of the bodybuilders would go way higher than even you do, 300 grams, 400 grams of protein a day.
Yes.
And their body was utilizing it. You know what I'm saying? They were muscular. They were lean.
Mm-hmm.
So just observations of humanity, you can come to the conclusion that 30 grams a day, your body's absorbing it. It's using it for something. So why do you think, Topher, why do you think that myth refuses to die? Because you've been asked that question.
Yeah, I have. And I tell, like I said, tell clients, I'm like, well, if you're talking about 60 grams of protein versus 30 grams of protein, because that's the cutoff that you heard, I wouldn't worry too much about it. No. It's not that, you would have, to me, in my mind, for protein, is you also hear too, that too much protein will damage your liver. I don't know if you've heard that too.
Kidneys.
Yeah, the kidneys, I tell you would, tons of protein in a day have that effect, so I kind of feel like it's a distraction when we start talking about 30 grams. I think it's more of a distraction rather than just putting the protein over the most important hairs over macronutrient we have going in our body. I fall of putting 60, like I said, my protein shake at night is a protein. I'm shredded, I've been doing it for months now. So it's not that I'd say that it's not true. I just don't find, at least with my clients, you want to do 45 grams of protein, do 45 grams of protein.
Well, it's not true. First of all, it's not true.
Yeah.
It's like your body can utilize it. Muscle protein synthesis can maybe only 30 grams, but your body still uses it for other things. And your body has to use it. Protein is a Swiss Army. Your body is the most important macronutrient for everything. Your body is built on protein. About 17% of my body, whenever is made of protein, 70% is water. And then the rest is the heat of human combustion, which is waste, minerals, which is about 5%, and then body fat, which is, for a healthy human, for a man is 9 to 11% essential. For a woman is 3 to 5%. Or no, for a man it's 3 to 5%. For a woman it's 11 to 13%, or 9 to 11%. Sorry. And so your body has that protein. I said that 17% of your body is made of protein, and the only thing higher than that is water, which is 70%. So, and also, as far as water can fluctuate from 40% to 70%. That's the reason why the numbers don't match up perfectly that I said. If you started matching them up, you'd be like, that's not exactly right, Don. Well, because water weight can, as you know, because if you get on the scale, it fluctuates like crazy. It's a head game. You want to beat your head up against the wall because the scale doesn't go down. Every woman I train, I'm just throw the damn scale out the window. You know what I'm saying? And just keep doing what I'm saying. But you said something though too. It's like most people asking the question, I don't even think they need to ask a question. Just eat the protein. So don't ask the question, because 80% of the population is overweight, obese, or severely obese, and they're very malnourished when it comes to protein. And so I think sometimes, I don't know why, it seems like people ask some of the hardest questions that need the simplest answers. Here's my answer for most people that ask questions like that. Just eat protein, number one. Quit eating Burger King. Those are two things that go hand in hand. Quit eating freaking snack cakes and eat plenty of protein, and don't worry about the nuance. Also, this everybody's afraid of, protein harming the kidneys. I've never done this. I've never seen this before ever. You've been to the bar before, and you've told one of your friends, "Hey, don't go home. You drank too much. Don't go home. You're worried about them, right? You've probably seen somebody drink too much, and you're just worried about them not even driving. You're just worried about waking them up because they drank so much, right? I've never went out to dinner with you or anybody else, and you had like 3 chicken breasts and say, "Hey, Topher, just still, I'm going to go get my Dallas machine. We're going to hook you up because I'm a little worried about your freaking kidneys."
Kidneys, right?
Ludicrous. It's ludicrous.
Right.
Topher and you know this, I'm a high protein guy, extremely high protein. I've had one client in 20 years have a problem with protein, and it's exclusive to them. Their body didn't process protein well. And so they did have a uric acid. The uric acid raised up whenever the protein. And I'm so bullheaded as far as I know that it's not protein 99.999% of the time. I could never come to the conclusion. I said it ain't protein. It was a protein. So you got to have some nuance as far as everybody's a little different. This is, by the way, if you think it's you, it's not you. You're not it. You're not it. That's just like the needle in the hair. It's kind of like the girl that now it's relatively one of the girls I just got on the phone with, one of my clients, great client. She's going to be doing the show with you in December in St. Louis here. If you do that show, a great client of mine. Her and her husband own a ranch where they have beef. She eats so clean. She eats cleaner, Topher, than anybody I know. Even cleaner than you, and you eat clean. I mean, and I know you eat clean. So you're on the 1% of everybody ever trained. She's like, she don't even have protein shakes. She has salmon. She has cod. She eats asparagus every day. Never has anything bad, period. But at the time, she would eat beef. And I love beef. Beef gets a bad name. And so I'm the defender of beef. And I'm definitely a defender of grass-fed beef because it's freaking gold. And so this person, she had some major stomach issues. And every time I talked to her, I would say, it can't be the protein. It can't be the beef. She went to Gulf Shores. She ate fish all week long. Her stomach wasn't upset. She said, my stomach is hurting so bad. She actually had stomach surgery where they cut out 8 feet of her intestines before they figured out what was wrong with her. And then whenever they sewed her back up, Topher, she still had the issue. They thought they fixed it. She still had the issue. And she said it was hurting so bad. I went to Gulf Shores. She called me when she got back. She said, "Don, it quit hurting." I said, "What happened?" She said, "I didn't eat any beef." And I said, "I don't know how that's true. I don't know why why. I don't know why." Right. And probably somebody's mind, the light bulb's going off. She had alpha-gal syndrome. It was 4 years ago. She was the first case I ever heard of alpha-gal syndrome. Now it's very well known. She couldn't eat beef. She can't eat chicken too, because a lot of chicken, by the way, has some of that bovine stuck in it. And so she can't have chicken at all. So she eats so clean. Anyway, so for most people though, protein, 40 grams of protein a meal, 50 grams of protein, 60 grams of protein a meal is not a big deal. Eat protein. Okay. So, Topher, I'm going to give you a lightning round. I'm going to give you some lightning round questions. What's the biggest nutrition myth you still hear every week? What's the biggest nutrition myth you hear every week? We probably talked about it.
Carbs are bad. I hear that all the time. I hear that all the time. And I even asked you to kind of dial in my carb intake in a day because, people are always afraid of carbs. So they think carbs are the worst thing to put in their body. But as you and I know, it's to fuel, right? We got to have some kind of fuel within our bodies. Myths that I hear is that carbs are so bad for you,
Yeah. That's a good one. As far as carbs are not essential, but carbs are very important. And so there's a difference. And so
Right.
if you're gonna eliminate, the reason why Atkins was popular, they eliminate carbs and people get lost weight. The problem is whenever they brought them back in, what happened? They all got fat again.
Yep.
And so it's not a good lifestyle as far as
Right.
carbs. So you got to understand food. And also what cracks me up about the carb problem is a lot of people say carbs, the people who defend carbs sometimes defend the wrong carbs. You know, the people that are saying our carbs are bad. Well, freaking bananas aren't bad. Asparagus and that's carb. Asparagus isn't bad. Donuts are bad. They are bad.
Right.
I like donuts.
Right.
Whenever you
Right.
fry them, contrary to popular belief, it doesn't burn up all the calories. But bottom line is the carbs are good.
Yeah.
If you don't burn them, they're stored as fat. That's a fact. Same with fat. Fat's not bad either. Fat's not bad. Protein's not bad. Carbs are bad. They all serve a purpose, and carbs are your body's main source of energy.
Mhm.
So I'm not opposed to them. Actually, what's funny is, it's not funny. I got this book here. It's 40-Day Fix. Right
Boom.
above Topher. Right
Yep.
above Topher. Get the book.
I love that book.
And on this diet, you don't get carbs because it's a 40-day fix. But
Correct.
once again, I said carbs are good for you, just not on the 40-day fix. So this is a protocol for 40 days. Get you as lean, get you ripped. Topher, you did this. You did this for 80 days. And this is what
That
you
was
did
a
for 80
life
days.
changer.
This
It was
is
a
what
life
you did.
changer.
That was you. That was your 80-day transformation, wasn't it? Was that 80 days? I think it was.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yep.
80-day transformation. It was 2 times you did the 40-day fix and went from that to that in 80 days. That was about a year and a half ago.
Yeah. About
That's
a year.
amazing, man.
Almost a year and a half ago. Yeah. You had me on the stage from the picture on the left in 12 months.
Yep. There you go. Look at that.
Yep.
There he
12
is.
months. Yep.
Look at that, man. You were freaking shredded. But this is what he looks like now. He's even more lean. He's leaner now than he was on stage.
Yeah.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah, that 40-day
impressive.
fix, I think that was a life changer for me. I mean, not only was it sound and getting me, leaned out in the 40 days, but it really instilled some great principles for a healthy lifestyle that is just invaluable, So it's lifestyle changes that I still promote for people. So if you can pick that book up, people pick it up.
Yeah, it's the foundation of nutrition. Literally, you build on it, you don't abandon it, and that's what you did. That's the reason why on the 40-day fix you don't get carbs. You only get carbs from a vegetable source of protein. Just letting you know. But you will get lean. You'll maintain muscle mass. It's high protein, low carb, low fat. But it's the fastest way to get fit. It's what I do with my competitors. Obviously, before stage, they would go do something similar to the 40-day fix if they had to. I don't make things hard just to make them hard. I make them hard for if they have to be, but if they don't have to be, I'm not. I just use a tool when I need to, and you know that. But anyway, grab the 40-day fix. Topher, I think we did a pretty good podcast today. I hope you guys liked it. If you did like it, you can go in the show notes below. If you're on YouTube, you can pick up Topher, his IG page, and be there. The link to get the book. I also got the 40-day fix intensive right here. If you want to do the 40-day fix intensive with me, I'll go over the whole program with you. You'll talk to me once a week. I'll make sure I hold you accountable so you can get the best results ever. By the way, there you are, Topher, right up there in the corner. You see yourself there? You're looking over yourself. You see that?
I see.
That's you, man.
Crazy.
That's the same photo you had on the gut punch. I'll put that in the below too. The gut punch, the ab routine.
Yeah. Punch, man. I've got some people on the gut punch. That's great, man.
It's a great ab workout. It's got some nutrition in there for you, some basic nutrition. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you. And stay tuned for our next podcast. Thank you.
Stop thinking and start doing. Information without execution is just entertainment. You have the truth. Now go do the work. Your body isn't lazy. Your excuses are. Get the tools you need at strangesculpting.com.